This episode is sponsored by Anchor. Welcome to the DoEvilDeeds podcast, where I, your host, Destiny Bradshaw, sometimes brings on a guest to discuss the evils of the world and try to give the word evil a new perspective. For today's podcast, it is that sometimes I am only joined with me, myself, and I. That's right, this is a solo podcast. So, normally I would bring on the guest and, discuss an evil deed that either they have done or I have done, just to kind of, normalize evil, since we all do evil deeds. But since it's just myself, I am going to go ahead and tell you an evil deed that I have done recently. So these episodes that I have, that I make for you guys, I don't really script them out, but I write bulletins and make notes and stuff for myself. And one of the notes that I had made, since I plan all of these episodes very much in advance, is that I have COVID, but I don't have COVID anymore. Whenever I wrote this bulletin, I did have COVID, which was in January. It is now February, and I am very much recovered, thankfully. And let me tell you, COVID definitely was an evil deed, and it still is an evil deed because, it's still going on in the world. It's still very much prevalent. But let me tell you what COVID decided to do to me. And I'm a little offended. So it made my taste buds muted. So I couldn't taste my favorite things that I love to taste. And it also made my smell muted, but I don't really, I don't have many smells I really look forward to smelling. But as for taste, I couldn't taste chocolate. I mean, I could a little bit, but it wasn't, to the full effect. And also buffalo chicken dip, I've also been loving, and yeah, couldn't really taste it. It kind of sucked. But there is an evil deed that I want to talk about that I didn't do, but somebody who I know did. And it's kind of early in the day, so I haven't really had enough time to really think of an evil deed for today, or really had a chance to really get to do an evil deed. So I work at a school, and specifically in elementary school. And I don't know if you guys know any kids. Well, I mean, you guys have to know kids, right? You have to know at least one kid. There's at least one kid in your family. Hopefully, maybe you're the last of your generation. Who knows? But kids think up the weirdest ideas. And so this kid that came to school today decided it would be a good idea for her to bring fart spray. And I don't know if you guys have ever smelt fart spray, if you know what fart spray is, or any of that. And if you don't know what it smells like, I'm jealous of you. I give you a round of applause for not knowing what fart spray is. But basically, it smells like the worst fart you have ever smelt. And yeah, she was just spraying it on people like perfume. Like, it's kind of like perfume, but the reverse effect. Like, usually perfume makes you smell good and fresh. Fart spray makes you smell like you haven't cleaned yourself in years, and somebody just farted on you. It's kind of like a walking pink eye smell. Yeah, that was today. That was this morning. And so there were just a bunch of stinky kids today. There's nothing you can do about it. What are you supposed to do about a kid smelling like a fart? You can't bathe them. We don't have showers at the school. You can't spray them with perfume. What if they are allergic to stuff, So, that was a thing. So, let's go ahead and jump into what this episode is about. Enough about evil deeds. So this is part 4, the final part of my 4-part Behind the Evil series. And today's topic is possession and substances. And I am going to go ahead and start off with substances primarily because possession is pretty fun to talk about. And I also have some ghost stories I would like to share. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the alcohol part of substances first, since, alcohol and drugs are the substances. Some substances are described. Can I speak today? Substances are described as alcohol or drugs. So yeah, we're just going to break it apart. Alcohol is fermented sugars or ethanol. It also slows down brain activity, often giving people a childlike mind and often leaving a person forgetful and with a change in mood or behavior. A change in mood and behavior, though, the key words there. When consuming in moderation, such as consuming alcohol every once in a while, consequences for consumption are very little. However, consuming alcohol on a regular basis can result in failure of organs as well as memory loss. So the main thing we're going to discuss with alcohol is mood changes and behavior, since those are the things that will most likely leave a person to do evil deeds. While doing my research for this podcast, I found a lot of studies on alcohol. If alcohol really changes your behavior in the sense that it makes you act like a completely different person. For example, if you're normally a super happy-go-lucky, easy, go with the flow type of person, and then you just have that switch with alcohol that makes you an aggressive, angry, hostile person. Most of these studies that I've looked at have shown that those type of scenarios just don't really happen. If you're an angry person when you're intoxicated, guess what? You're still going to be an angry person. Now, people do dumb things all the time when intoxicated. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen the movies. We all know the people where when intoxicated, they do dumb things such as calling up an ex, jumping off roofs, running around naked, etc. The prime cause for this is a lack of thought process due to your mind being slowed down. So is being intoxicated an excuse for murder? I'm just using murder because it is an extreme case of doing an evil deed. You could use the argument that yes, because their thought process is being interrupted and being slowed down, or the counter argument could be no, because they still wanted to murder someone, since being intoxicated doesn't change you entirely as a person. In the U.S., where I reside, if someone murders someone while under the influence, the factor of being intoxicated can lead to a lesser sentence. When researching for this episode, I was trying to look up cases where someone was killed by an intoxicated killer, but I did not find much. And my guess as to why is because it can be kind of hard to determine whether a person was intoxicated at the time of the murder, since alcohol does not stay in your system for very long. And most of the time, whenever investigations are happening, they're primarily looking for evidence and that type of stuff to determine the killer. But I did find a lot of stuff on DUI murders, but the one case I did find that might have an intoxicated killer, but I'm not too sure. It was in an article with crimes that happened by intoxicated people, but it didn't say specifically if this person was intoxicated. But if you have any stories or anything you would like to tell me about intoxicated killers or anything like that, feel free to submit them on the Google form that I have in the link tree of every platform that I have for the DoEvilDeeds podcast. Also, you can submit them on the community tab on Spotify or in the comments on the YouTube channel. There's many places you can submit them to. Pretty much anywhere where you think you can submit it, go ahead and submit it. I'll probably see it. So going back to our topic, the one case I did find was, or may have found, was a California movie producer. He killed his wife with a firearm, but the article did not say if he was intoxicated or not, but like I mentioned before, it was in an article with other intoxicated, other people that were intoxicated at the time of committing a crime. As for DUIs, they happen all the time. My hypothesis as to why is because your thought process is slowed down while you're being intoxicated. So many people think that they're fine to drive, but in actuality, they are not. But still proceed with the idea anyway and end up killing someone and hitting someone with their car. I'm going to go ahead and take a break to drink some tea. Maybe there's none left. Okay, we're gonna switch to water instead. Like that little ASMR. Alright, back to our episode. So there was a case that kind of stood out to me as for a DUI murder, and that was one that happened just down the street from me. And this mother who was pregnant had her daughter in the back seat, and the mother was hit and killed. The daughter is fine. She's still living to this day. There's actually a news article not too long ago that had an update on them. The family's doing fine, obviously still sad about the tragedy, but yeah, kind of sad. But if you are planning on getting somewhere well intoxicated, please make sure you have a designated driver who is sober. And cops a lot of the times will offer a free ride to your house in larger cities. Or you can also stay the night at where you are or take an Uber or Lyft. Just be careful with the Uber or Lyfts because a lot of times they will take advantage. Because I've heard a lot of horror stories. I don't want to say a lot of times that they do this, that, and the other. But I have heard quite a bit of horror stories with Ubers and Lyfts. So just be careful. I'm sure we all have heard those horror stories. So let's go ahead and talk about the drug side of substances. So I'm sure a lot of us have heard of stories from people about taking hallucinogens. Yes. And those drugs those type of drugs making their fears come to life. And yeah, the reason why this happens though is because when you take drugs to get high, those drugs temporarily rearrange chemical compounds in your brain to give you a euphoric feeling. And sometimes mistakes happen whenever that occurs with the chemical makeup and how it changes. So I'm going to go ahead and share a story. I'm sure many of us have heard this story before, maybe, possibly. So when LSD first started to go around into circulation and people started to take it to have a wild ride, a man was drugged with LSD secretly for a secret study and was being observed. And when observed, he went back to his hotel room and jumped out of a window. So drugs can do crazy things and can lead to a crazy death, such as walking out of from what I heard, is that he was just like walking out of the window, like he just thought he could keep on going. So, but anyway, speaking of death, since he died, now on to possession. What a wonderful segue. Talking about death, it ended with death and now it's starting with death. Isn't that a metaphor for something? So, on to possession. Possession is defined as a human's behavior being altered by a spirit. So, I have had many many spirit encounters. I've had spiritual encounters, but we're gonna tap into the spirit encounters. And if you stay till the end, I will tell some of my experiences that stood out to me. So, most of us have heard of Ed and Lorraine Warren, mainly because there are countless movies, books, and shows made about them and from them. Whether their experiences are true or false is up to you, but how most of their clients became possessed is they either moved into a house or was gifted an object, and the person who owned the object or lived in the house before them did an evil deed or was possessed by the devil himself. And then the new owners of that object or house get possessed by what seems to be the previous owner, but then turns out to be the devil. There are many debates on whether or not it's the devil that possesses these people, or if there even is such a thing as possession. So could possession be a result of doing evil deeds? I know this is my podcast, so I should give an opinion, but I don't really have an opinion because I've not witnessed a possession. But yeah, moving on. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about my stories, my ghost stories, and I'm just going to give 4 of them. And don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I have more experiences to tell you guys about. But these are just the ones I'm going to share today. I plan on doing full episodes talking about ghost stories and all that type of stuff. Alright guys, I'm back. I just got done taking a bathroom break, but if you guys need to take a bathroom break, go ahead, pause this episode, and jump right back into it. I've been drinking this Sonic drink, and I don't know if you guys have a Sonic near you, but in the South, they are everywhere. And they have these large drinks that are quite wonderful. And I like to get tea from there. So anyway, now continuing on with my ghost stories. I'm going to go ahead and start with my Andrew Jackson experience. So, did you guys just hear my dog? So I'm laying down on the bed right now recording this episode, and my dog is right next to me. And anyway, he's been moving around and he's sleeping. So I hope you heard him because my dog sounds cute. Anyway, so the Andrew Jackson house, or the Hermitage, is the house that belonged to Andrew Jackson in Nashville. Well, technically in Hermitage, Tennessee. And if you go to BNA or the Nashville airport, there's usually a sign by the airport exit that can lead you to the Hermitage. So my dad decided to take me there one day, and all of these stories I'm realizing are with my dad, so maybe there's some sort of correlation. I don't know, Father. I know my father's listening to this, so if he is, what's the deal? But anyway, so there's a part of this tour where it's self-guided, and then there's a part of this tour where you get a tour guide and stuff. So anyway, we start doing the self-guided tour. Nothing really happens. And then we do the guided tour, and the guided tour really happens on the inside of the house because there's a garden, there's a field and stuff. Because, he was a president during the battle days, so, there's lots and lots of land. And so we enter the house, everything's going all good. The guide is telling us about with these stairs. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to the Hermitage, but they have a pretty low railing. And he was telling us about how that some of Andrew Jackson's kids have fallen from the stairs because of the low railing. And I think he even said like one or two of them died from this low railing. Anyway, yeah, and so the mother primarily lived in this house, and Andrew Jackson, of course, at times did, but primarily it was the mother, or Andrew Jackson's wife, and kids that lived in this house. And so it was just, telling us about the railing, that type of stuff. But I kind of move away from the crowd and even from my dad, and just kind of like taking a look around, because I absolutely love older architecture. And although I'm not happy about the things that have happened in the past, as for injustices and stuff like that, I do think a lot of architecture from that time was really cool, because people were coming in from different areas of the world, and coming to America, and building their houses with designs from where they were before. And there's a lot of really cool architecture in the USA, even though it's from a time that was not the best. Anyway, so I move away from this crowd, and I'm just kind of looking around. I'm solo, and then I hear a woman's voice say, "Don't fall down the stairs," like just like that. To this day, I think it was Andrew Jackson's wife, and I think it was more of her warning me, because I was pretty young at the time. I was 9 years old, I believe. I was like, 8 or 9. Pretty sure I was like 8 now that I'm thinking about it, because I remember I went to school after going there, and I had a shirt with a $20 bill, and I was like, yeah guys, I got money on my shirt. I got this green shirt with money, and then on the back of it said like the Hermitage, but on the front of it was a $20 bill. And I thought I was the coolest stuff ever, because I was like, look at my shirt. And all the kids were like, whoa, you got money on your shirt. It's like, yeah. I felt like the coolest kid ever. Anyway, moving on. I did that. I'm so sorry. I feel like that was so harsh. I was like, moving on. Like I felt like I was a subway person, in movies and stuff, or like a bus person, where they're like, come on, let's go. We got more stops to go. I felt like I was kind of a New Yorker, like a harsh New Yorker bus driver or subway driver. So I want to make a public apology. I am sorry for my actions. I apologize for rushing my stories, because you guys deserve my valuable time. You guys deserve my undivided attention. So here is my public apology. All right, moving on. So the next story is about a hospital. And again, this happened with none other than my dad. And so we're coming back from somewhere. I don't remember where specifically we were coming from. Wanna say a cave. Was it though? I don't know. But I think it was. For some reason, I'm thinking we went to a cave. And my dad had gone to this hospital before and just kind of checked it out. And he was like, oh, it's a real spooky place. We should go check it out. Again, with me. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I have a special power where spirits can kind of like flash an image to me, or whatever, and let me know that they're there in my mind. So maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not. It's up to you guys to decide. I feel like I'm crazy sometimes, but maybe I might just be the most sane person on this planet. No, I'm crazy. Okay. So anyway, we go to this place, and this hospital, and we can't go inside of it, and they do tours. I don't remember what part of Tennessee this was, but it did happen in Tennessee. And there's been ghost shows on this hospital and all that type of stuff, but I did not do any research on this hospital before we like really went there, because I just wanted to get a true, authentic, raw feel for this place. And so since there was a tour going on, it was a private tour, they had scheduled it, so we couldn't go inside, but we were just kind of going around on the outside to kind of look around and see if we could get a feel of anything. And I kind of felt a kid spirit, and there was like one window in particular that I was like, there's something there. So I take pictures all across this building, like, you know, all throughout, and it's a big building, but as much as I can access, I'm taking pictures, and I ended up catching something in a picture. I will post this on Instagram and all the places once this podcast is posted so that you guys can see the picture. But it turned out to be a male child, so a little boy. And on their website, because I ended up doing research later, there's known to be a little boy spirit that wanders the halls of this hospital. So that was very interesting that it was, you know, some hardcore evidence against with what I saw. Okay, so those were all like pretty good experiences. There wasn't anything bad to go with any of them, but I do want to talk about a bad experience. I know that's kind of crazy. Like, why would you want to focus on the negative? What's going on? But we're going to focus on the negative for a minute. And I keep doing this. Guys, enjoy my mouth noises? The mesophobia? What's it called? The fear of mouth noises. I'm so sorry to you people. Am I going to have to issue another public apology? I'm not even one season in. And I'm already 2 apologies into this episode. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, mouth noise people. I really am. Let's just take a moment of silence for those people. Okay, so my dad used to have this one house in Wisconsin. I'm just going to say the location. I don't know why whenever I was writing bullet points for this episode, where I was like, should I mention where the house is? Like, what are y'all going to do? You guys don't know where the house was. I don't even have a picture on file of this house. So what are y'all gonna do? Show up to it? I don't even remember where it is. I don't remember the address. Why was I scared? I was like, oh no, the new owners might not like that. But I don't even remember the address. It was a white house. You guys might go there. Oh no. I don't know why I was thinking you guys would go there in the first place. Like, why would you want to go to this house? What would be the purpose? Why would you travel there? Or if you already live there, why would you go to it anyway? I don't know. Anyway, so there's this house in Wisconsin that my dad used to live in, because I used to live north of the USA, north of the USA. And so this house was haunted by the spirit of the next door neighbor's grandfather, because he used to live there. And he was an angry spirit whenever he was alive. So whenever he was dead, guess what? Guess what, guys? Still an angry spirit. Still an upset one. And so he would do things like open and close cabinets, ghosting 101. You name it, he did it. And rolling around stuff in the basement, that sort of thing. Made himself known, shown his figure. Changed my show a couple of times, which, I was watching some SpongeBob, and, he decided it wasn't the vibe. But I do remember one time I walked into my bedroom and my closet was open, and then I saw my clothes on the hanger swaying back and forth, and that kind of creeped me out. That really creeped me out. And this house was just like had a creepy vibe altogether. Yeah. So that's kind of it that I have about this house. And there were also a lot of garden snakes there. Like, I remember there being like a ton of garden snakes, like just infested with garden snakes. Those green snakes. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah, the garden snakes. I don't think that they're harmful in any sort of way, but I remember just being like, that's a snake. That right there is something I don't want to mess with. Which I actually kind of like snakes now. I'm going on a tangent about snakes. That is not what we're here for. Maybe I should change it to do reptile things. Do reptile deeds. That's what this podcast is now. Do reptile deeds. Alright, so now on to my dad's current house. So, my dad first looked at this house, and I was with him whenever he first looked at this house. And it was for sale by the previous owner's children because the mom died. Not in the house though. Oh, I should also mention, I don't want to spread false information. I was going to say that the grandfather died in that other house, but I don't know for sure. So let's not spread false information. But anyway, this mother of my dad's current house did not die in the house. She died in a hospital, but she didn't know she was going to die. She went to the hospital just, thinking it was something else, and it ended up being worse. I'm not going to give details, though, out of privacy for that family. But she died. Yeah. And then the house was for sale because, she no longer owned the house livingly. And so whenever my dad and I first toured the house in the master bathroom, I got a flash image of this woman in a blue outfit, and she had kind of made it known, and I felt her presence too, and it was a very motherly, good feeling, and she is a very motherly person still as a spirit, and she's a good spirit. Basically, let me backtrack a little bit. So, my dad does own the house now. He ended up buying it. And I had told him that, what I had felt and that type of stuff. I don't typically keep that stuff a secret, especially if it involves someone else. And so he did end up buying the house, and within the first little bit of being there, the motherliness of the spirit already came out. I had left some food trash, whenever you go to a restaurant and then you have the to-go containers and stuff, and I left those beside my bed, and I got up to go to the bathroom and forgot to take the empty containers to the trash, and then I came back from the bathroom to go get the containers since I had realized that I forgot to throw them away, and they were already thrown away. I looked in the trash and I was like, So my dad was the only one in the house at the time, and I had asked him about it, and he was like, I didn't throw that away. I didn't even know that you even had that trash in there. So there was that. My dad said that he had seen her sitting on a bed, and just various things like that. Nothing crazy though. just cleaning stuff and yeah. Just a good all-around spirit. So I'm glad that we did leave that off on a good note, though, instead of, on the evil, leaving it on the evil. Although this is Do Evil Deeds, I can make this as evil as I want to. But I'm not going to. I'm not. We're talking about evil deeds, not spending our time making people have bad days. But we do want to do evil deeds sometimes. But thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Do Evil Deeds. You can listen to this podcast on YouTube and Spotify. I'm still working on getting Do Evil Deeds on other platforms. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. Our other socials are at Do Evil Deeds on Instagram and TikTok. If you would like to submit topics, comments, or story times, you can submit those on the community tab on Spotify or on every social media. I have a link in the description of that profile or bio of that profile to a link. There's a link tree, and then and you click on that link, and then there's different links. If you guys know what a link tree is, I'm trying to explain what a link tree is. So you open up a link, and then it has a bunch more links. And one of those links is labeled Google form or something like that. And just click on that and you can submit your stories. You can also DM me on Instagram if you would like to share a story. Put it in the comments of an Instagram post. Anywhere where you think I would see it, you can put it. On social media, though. On social media. Please don't just deliver me a letter. Please do not do that. I would not enjoy that. And then, let me think. Is there anything else I need to inform you guys on? If you would like to follow any of my personal or book stuff, you can. I am an author, by the way. My book socials are at Bradshaw Books on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. That is at Bradshaw Books, BRADSHAWBOOKS. You can also buy my book on Amazon. It is available in paperback and as an ebook. It is called The Book of Disappointment. I don't know why I blanked on that. It's my book. I wrote it. I made the cover and everything. It is called The Book of Disappointment, and it is available on Amazon. A lot of times if you just look up the title, it'll come up. But if not, my name is Destiny Bradshaw, DESTINY, Bradshaw, BRADSHAW. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is at Destiny_Bradshaw. That is at DESTINY_BRADSHAW. Just like the football player. Am I related to Terry Bradshaw? Maybe, maybe not. That is what I'm going to leave for an evil deed. I'm going to trick you guys. Am I related to Terry Bradshaw? You guys may never know. But without further ado, thank you so much for listening. And don't forget to do evil deeds.